Don't you think this is starting to wear on me? You've been raining down like hail. I'm weak. I have tried to give you my soul, but you can't love something you own. It's too late to repair what we made. What can I do? Time flashed by and I woke up on the other side of the moon.
G'day everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Anna and this is You Got Me in Stitches. Hope everybody's had a really good week. In today's video I am coming in at you with a sewing cutting table, and kind of had a bit of a light bulb moment here. Ping! It does happen, not very often, but it can happen. Over the years, for the most part, kind of had to thrift all my life. Didn't matter what country I was in, but to be able to have a few things that I needed, wanted, and for the most part, a lot of things were out of my budget. So thrifting is a fantastic way to be able to have the things that you need, especially practical things for everyday life. And because I am a girl that does not at all shy away from power tools, anything like that, and do a lot of work with woodwork, and you need power tools and things like that, and so I make a lot of things. Okay, they're not very good, like with everything that I do. However, if it doesn't break and it works and serves the purpose that it was intended for, then surely that's a win-win. Anyway, just giving you a little bit of a backstory as how this table came about. So for the most part, for many years, TE and I, even though he wasn't a TE before he was a TE, he was a young boy earthling, then he is a teenage earthling. Anyway, we had to share a bedroom, and it was sort of semi-small, so to be able to have all the bits and pieces that were required, you kind of had to be inventive. And both my single bed and TE single bed I created to be high enough that you could actually put storage and stuff under the beds. So that's what I did. Half of the space was kind of a hanging area, and the other space was shelves, and then later when I afforded, say, chest of drawers, then the chest of drawers went under half the bed. And then also, you know that we're a lover of books, especially TE, and one day, a few years ago, not that long ago, probably about 3 years ago, give or take, I then created him a pretty large bookshelf. So then that would accompany all of his books, and yeah. So fast forward a little bit, and you guys know over the sort of last year, some of the renos have been taking over a little bit in my friend's house, and so everything kind of, all the rooms have been majorly kind of dismantled, all the furniture, and yeah. So the large shelves I dismantled his bed, and it's going to be reused, but most of it kind of went in the garage and stayed there. And I struggle massively with cutting out on the tables that I have because of the height and the floor. Sometimes when I'm on the floor I get stuck on the floor because I'm not always able to then get up very easily, and with tables not being the correct height, even if you don't have back issues, you know it can be incredibly uncomfortable, if not painful, to be in a position that really can hurt the back. So when you're cutting out, you kind of want a height of a table or area or whatever to be able to be with kind of the contours of how your posture is. Anyway, so recently I suddenly went, oh yeah, the wood in the garage. I thought, okay, yeah, shelves. Yeah, because I dismantled those and dismantled his bed, and for the most part most of his bed were in smaller pieces, but the actual kind of main frame thing, yeah, the frame of the bed was pretty much kind of not dismantled, and it was primarily the ends. And so I thought, well, hang on a minute, I can use those ends and the shelves and create a table. And that is what I did. Now, some of the footage that you will see I have previously filmed, so just cleaning off the wood and getting it all prepped and everything, that was a little while ago. And then probably a week or two ago, no, about 2 weeks ago, T.E. and I just got the camera out again because he helps to set the table up for me if I'm unable to. But wow, okay, it is probably really ugly to look at and it's really basic, but you know what, it works for me. And so the height is really good. It could be a little bit higher, I admit, but it is the closest to it for me to be really comfortable. Some of you guys might look and think, oh, but what are you going to do if you need to move it? And yeah, okay. So the answer to that is, yes, they are not attached. And how I have placed the table in the living room, it's kind of resting against the heater one side and the chest, even now the chest has actually been moved. I've just got some boxes, yeah, of course, those famous boxes. But the area of where I put the table has not actually changed. So one half of the table leg area, I guess, can still be rested against the boxes. Yeah, but by the time you put the shelves on top and it being tarped against the heater one side and the boxes, or the trunk at that time, it makes it strong so it doesn't wobble. And I think I do mention that actually in the footage that I filmed. But again, if I need to move it and later down, you know, the track, you know, if things, life circumstances, that all changes, I can adapt it. I can quite easily get some other spare wood that I have and make the table more structured. But right now it works great as it is. And also I was thinking of maybe putting wheels on the bottom maybe later on. But again, if I did do that, then I can actually maneuver it around. And but by doing that, if it was more of a fixed table in the sense of, at the moment it's completely collapsible, but if I actually put the, what was shelves, but the wood on top and fixed it down so then they were not able to be collapsible, then obviously the table would be more of a fixed position, and then you'd have to move the table in its entirety. And that's not really viable at the moment with the way living circumstances are at the moment. So yeah, it works for me as it is, and I can easily add or take off the shelves for whatever length, width that I desire. And also because I have other wood, if I wanted to make the table even longer, I could. So yeah, that's all of today's video. Yes, I know I've been yakking on for about 7 minutes. So I'll show you the footage of just the prep and how the table gets created. So enjoy. So what do you do when you start collecting a lot of wood over the years and you kind of had a use for it and then dismantle the wood, store it in the garage? Yeah, let's make a sewing table. Why not? Also have these pieces of wood. This was a frame that I made many years ago when T.E. was younger, and yeah, just need to clean it all up and that will become the end legs for the table. So obviously the white piece of wood that you just seen will lay on top, and because it's smooth it will come in very good for various things. And when I don't need a smooth top, I can easily put that non-slip rubbery thin matting down. So yeah, just gonna get me to clean all this up and yeah, just do a makeshift sewing table. It's not going to be a table that is going to stay up permanently because I don't really have the space, but it's something that I need to do because obviously with cutting out especially and my lower back and abdominal issues, I cannot really do anything on the floor anymore. So you just got to learn to adjust. So let's start off cleaning. So just in the water, just regular dish liquid with some disinfectant, and let's go. Let's start getting these pieces of wood up to some better looking pieces of wood. So it's coming off already, so that's good. To be fair, I'm really not too fussed if there's stains that cannot be taken out, because this is just a cutting out tracing table for my sewing patterns. After everything is clean and dry, then just have fun placing your wood, so then you can decide how wide or narrow you like your table. And because it's not set and screwed and fixed permanently, you can obviously remove each of these pieces of wood, which I think is fantastic. Right, so these are the pieces of wood, and these were the frames that originally was on TE's bed that I made quite a few years ago. So you can see how high this is. Obviously there was other parts to his bed, and it was high because obviously it was like one of those cabin beds where you'd have lots of storage. So yeah, these are the two ends that when I dismantled his bed just kind of went into storage, into the garage. And also these are some of the shelves that were also TE's bookshelf that for now just got taken apart, where obviously with the decorations and everything that was going on in the house renos and things, so yeah, not yet being put up, but there is different furniture currently in his room. So yeah, so had that moment where you suddenly think, oh okay, yeah, there's wood, what can I do with it? And obviously with a crippling pain when the few times that I trace out or cut out on the floor, I have other tables but they're too low, and although again that also creates a lot of pain, I thought, wow, let's give this a go, because I had this thought that I remembered that this height was a good height for me. So I just bring in to the living room these pieces of wood. So I just turn the camera around and TE will put it together, and I'll film it so you guys can see what you can do with kind of wood that's kind of left over but still in good condition, and you can put it to a different use. And just this part of the living room, it just so happens that this area is wide enough, long enough to then put this table up, and yeah, so it's a win-win. Righto, so TE is going to assemble my little makeshift cutting table so you guys can see how this goes together. So it's pretty basic. So what was the end of TE's bed, so you can imagine how high it was, that kind of comes up to his tummy area. So yeah, it was great when he was little. Then what was the shelving for his shelving bookshelf that I made, just simply put these on top, and then I can decide if I want all four on or if I want more or less. which is great because obviously because these are not fixed, I can play around with how many pieces of wood I'd like to put on. And also by doing this, it actually makes this a lot stronger. So if I shake this now, because it is pushed against the side there, and obviously the side on the other side, if that makes sense, it makes this stronger. So there's no wiggle movement, which is great. Now just so you guys get an idea of the size of this little makeshift table, just put the yardstick there and you guys can see from the other side to the other side. So it's just shy of 1 yard, and then if I flip it around that way, so it starts there and it finishes there, so just imagine that little bit extra. So it's probably about just shy of 1.5 yards. And also the other good thing is, I know the drapes are kind of partly closed at the moment. I just open those and just take the sheer back and have all this extra light. Okay, so just off camera, TE kindly just moved the sheer and the drape. So all this light can come inside. It's a really horrible day as well today. Yeah. And also if I'd like to look out the window, you can see what's going on with nature. It's a little bit bare at the moment, so yeah. Springtime's almost there. Oh, it's a little bird that just ran past. Yeah, so not only do I have that light, those lights on the wall, and then following up onto the ceiling, we have all the extra light there. Now although that's central to the ceiling, that's not central to the table. The table's not directly under it, but it doesn't matter, there's plenty of light, so I'm really happy with that. And yeah, also, who's on the cutting table? Emma. I don't know. Righto, so there you have it guys. That is one way if you're on a budget to create a table, and or if you want to reuse, repurpose leftover pieces of wood. I'm sure you guys already know that anyway. And I know Jen from Jen's Sewing Room, she's a girl after my own heart. She's not afraid of those power tools and deconstructing things and all sorts of things like that. So yeah, you go girl. And it's just really awesome. It's just another little creative outlet. So if you have anything kind of left over, you can look at it and think, okay, that could be used for something else, repurposed, made into something else, or used as something. But sometimes things have a double purpose. So do you remember a long time ago, like with the toaster holder, rack, whatever you'd like to call it, so you'd put your toast in. Instead of using it for your toast, you can put your mail in or your patterns. So yeah, sometimes you got to look at some things and think, ah, okay, yes, I know that is marketed as that, but actually it could work as this. So anyway, let me know in the comments below if you'd like, if you have ideas like that. What did you create? It's always fun to find out. Okay guys, so all being well, see you next Friday on Friday Sews. And for those of you that celebrate Valentine's, happy Valentine's to you, and thank you so much for stopping by.